Today, we're replacing the stock cab lights with these bitchin' new cab lights from Boost Auto. This is what our friends at Boost Auto sent us. If you're just replacing the cab light, then this is the only box you'll need. If you want to set it up so that it works with your turn signals, you'll also have to do some additional wiring and install this module over here. Opening our box, you can see the new lights are protected very well in a foam packaging, and they've even got plastic on them. Here is our new bolts and cages that we'll be using. Quick look at the S series cab light module. Basically just a little box with some wires hanging off the ends of it. They have to be wired up. And of course, our wiring for all of this. What I noticed is missing though is directions. There aren't any. That's because they made a great installation video that you can view on YouTube. Now, in the description of my video, I've included a link to their video, so you can just go find it from there. It's a fantastic installation video, which probably makes you wonder, why am I making an installation video? Well, this is not really an installation video. I'm basically going to do their install the way they said to do it and give you any notes or discrepancies that might arise. Speaking of notes, when I watched their video, I did write down step by step what they did, and I put those notes in the description of my video. So if you're like me and like a written out list that you just follow, check my description and just there's your list. So these are the tools that you need just to install the cab lights. You're going to need a T15, a 7, a 10, a flat blade, a pick tool, some sort of ratchet for the 7 and 10, although I'll be using this. And something that's missing from their list of tools is a flashlight. But let's face it, they were making a video, they had lights. If you're installing the S-Series module for the turn signals, you'll also need a couple extra things. Wire strippers, crimpers, some side cutters, scissors, electric tape, maybe some needle nose pliers, heat shrink gun, and a little trim pry bar. Well, here from the future, I did add a few more things to the list of tools. You're going to want to use a T15 screwdriver. The bit just isn't long enough. You're going to need something like this or like this to get the lights off the roof. They're not glued down, but they're, I don't know, they were stuck. I had to pop this under it a little bit to get them loose. Now they had it in their tool list. They had flat piece of metal. I used a Slim Jim here in this. This worked just fine. You could probably use a coat hanger as well. I also ended up using this quite a bit because it's kind of tight between the roof and the headliner. You'll see. All right, it's time to get started. Let's get these batteries disconnected. First note, battery on the passenger side. To get that negative cable off, you probably got to take this cover off to make it easier. It just unclips. And although I didn't have to remove it, I almost took this off, which would require an additional socket, a 13, get this bracket off. I was able to finally get that off, but not exactly the easiest thing. Next up, we're removing the console. We're using our pick tool under this guy right here, which I've already started. And you're just gonna work your way around it. Then we're going up in here. Okay, they were not kidding about this T15 being really deep, so I had to switch to a T15 screwdriver. Look how deep that thing is. A bit would not work. So I've got the console down, and I was gonna take it out completely. And with theirs, they just took the connectors out and it came right off. This one though, we are zip tied here. The whole wiring harness is zip tied to the console. And then this piece, which probably controls for a sunroof, which I don't have, this is pressed in, so I would have to pry that out. So I think I'm just going to let it dangle here. If you look up in here, you can actually see that's one of the nuts for the center. And then the other one is right there. And the other one's right around here. So when I drop the headliner down, I should be able to just go through this console hole to get to those. I don't have a sunroof like the one that they used. But if you got a sunroof, there's a big hole right here and you can just work through here. Instead, I'm going to have to work through this hole. Next to these sun visors, I don't expect there to be any surprises there. I wasn't expecting any surprises, but there was. you take the 3 T15s out. This is still up there, and you pull it down and it'll come down. But there's actually a clip here, and what you're supposed to do is take some needle nose and go up through those holes there, and then squeeze this and then pull down. You do risk breaking this if you just pull it down. A and B pillars up next. Yeah, this did require a little bit of force to get this to disconnect right here. So you kind of got to pull the whole thing this way. I'm not sure what's going on down the bottom there, but I'm not going to try and disconnect it. I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay, the B-pillar was as described. Headed over to the passenger side, gonna redo everything over there. No surprises over on the passenger side, although the A-pillar did come completely off and it smacked me in the face pretty good. I'm about an hour in to this install. All right, now we should be able to pull this headliner down. Yep. All right, so that's about the room we've got to work with. Now I can pull that down a little bit and I can get my hand in there and get to the bolt. If we had a sunroof like they did in the video, we'd just go right through the hole where the sunroof would be. We don't have that. If we look up in there, there we are. That's the wire, and then the bolt's back a little bit. There's really no way for me to get my camera up in there, so you're just gonna have to trust me on this one. If I can fit my big mitt up there, you'll be able to do it. Tell you what though, this is where it pays to have a good flashlight that's got a magnetic base like this one. There's a link in the description. I've already pulled the red clip back. I used the pick to pull that back. It was easier. And that's out. Adding an optional tool, I was able to get this in here, which saved me some time. Our first one is out. I'm going to hit it with some spray 9. I think that's some sort of glue or seal or something. Comes off easy enough. Definitely has some little tangs that hold the thing in. Once you get that bolt out, you still have to press in on some little plastic tangs. The new one does not have those. This one says part number RH. That's what we're looking for, right hand side. So that's got a thick, super thick gasket on it. So once we bolt it down, it'll go all the way down. At least that's the assumption anyway. Okay, we're on the driver's side, and this little piece right here looks like it's just hot glued to the headliner, and it's come off on mine. So I'm not going to glue that back on there. I'm just going to have to line it up when I put it back together. As noted, you've got two bolts that are kind of similar. The one on the outside here, this is the one we're looking for. Obviously, the other one is for the satellite. It's kind of backwards from the other side, so the red clip that you have to pull out is on the other side, so you're gonna have to disconnect that blind. You can't look at it. You got to reach around, and yeah, you got to give this clip the old reach around. Anyway, let me get that off. All right, this light is done. Now we are on to the middle light, and if you look way over there, you can see the first bolt. I think I'm going to try and get that from out here and then get the other two from up through the console. All right, I was indeed able to get that all the way over the headliner and get that bolt out. Let's see here. I bet every one of those connectors has clips on it. Yay! Definitely needed a little bit of a helper to get this off. But it's off. For these three, I'm just going to do the center bolt first and then do the outsides. 3 bolts are in and tight. You can see it sits flush now. Now I get to put all this back together. Start with the headliner. All right, everything is back together. Now, if you're just putting lights on the roof, you're done. Put the negative terminals back on and call it a day. Now, if you're doing the rest of it, if you're doing the turn signal bit, which is what I'm doing, and I'll be doing that next, but if you are out of time or whatever, you can take a break at this point and just put the negative terminals back on, go to work, do whatever you need to do with your truck, and then when you have time, get to the wiring part. I'm going to do the wiring part now. All right, we're taking off the sides. I really need to vacuum. We're gonna pry this up, and well, we're gonna follow the steps, and I'll tell you what I find. All right, so right off the bat, when I pulled this guy out here, these aren't supposed to come off. You see the one here came off, and it's stuck in there right here. So I'm gonna have to dig that out and put it back on here. Okay, it looks like I've got the exact same setup they had in their video, so I will be taking that yellow connector off. All right, so doing the wiring down here at the white connector, I've kind of done things a little out of order, and they wanted me to hook the module's blue wire up right away to the cut wire here. And instead, what I've done is I've gone ahead and done all of the rest of the prep on this connector. I added the taps here for the power. I've also run the rest of the 4-wire connector over to the other side. I haven't hooked that up yet, but I'm going to hook up everything on this side before I move to the other side. Right, so the main reason I did it backwards, I didn't want any of this wiring mess down here getting in my way while I was trying to make the necessary cuts, the stripping of the wire and putting taps on. I just didn't want all this mess right up on it. So that's the main reason I did it that way. Just finished the wiring to the BCM. Pretty straightforward, just like the other side. So time to hook up the batteries, see if this thing works. All right, batteries are hooked up. I'm gonna watch it for the first time in the camera so you can see my reaction. Let's see here. Just hit the unlock. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so overall, wasn't that bad of a job. I don't know, hour and a half on the wiring, maybe, somewhere around there, 2 hours. But, you know, it wasn't that bad. I was kind of going slow because I'm old. The job itself for putting on the cab lights, that wasn't that bad either. I think I already mentioned how long that took. It was like 3.5, 4 hours. Again, you know, you take into consideration I'm doing some camera work and stuff, and I got other things going on. But anyway, let's see if the turn signals work. Oh yeah, check that out. Nice. They all blinking in time. Got to check the other side as well. Oh yeah, both sides. The directions really were spot on. There were a couple things I'd add, and I did in this video, but otherwise, they were really good. Another view of that startup sequence. Yeah, that's bitchin'. I like it. Lots of info in the description. Be sure to check that out. There's a link to where you can buy these lights. A link to links to some other stuff like the install video this is all based off of. So be sure to check out the description. Well, I hope this video helped you out. If it did, be sure you like, subscribe, comment. I'd love for you to stick around. Got lots of videos on this truck and, well, videos on lots of other stuff as well. But anyways, I'll see you guys down the road. All right, one more time, but this time in the dark. Oh, that's just too cool. Totally worth it.